Well, welcome to a Saturday afternoon session. I'm Kat, and this is Cat Space with my partner, Philip. I would like to welcome to Cat Space for the first time in 2021, Leon, who is my colleague, another radio on-air presenter at Hawkesbury Radio 89.9 FM. Everyone should tune in. He has a great lineup and a great show. How are you?
Feeling kind of jumpy because I had a very interesting incident with a spider coming home this afternoon. Now, what had happened is this spider somehow smuggled its way aboard my clothes at Windsor Station, and I didn't notice it started running until it started running around on my lap around what's it, Riverston and Schofields and then Riverston and Vineyard. I'm like, yeah, okay. Now, how am I going to get this thing off me? Because I have to wear glasses, right? And I obviously, with wearing a face mask, you can't wear the glasses. So I had to wear the face mask. So I can't see this little bugger running around. And I'm like, yeah, okay, how am I going to handle this? Because there was an announcement just as we left uh, Windsor Station saying that there is police patrolling this train. So I'm like, yeah, okay, this is going to be a fun trip home.
Oh, we all hate spiders. Actually,
Well, now we can call you the Spider-Man for a nickname.
Yeah, keep tossing it up.
So what I wanted to discuss with you today is your opinions and thoughts and feelings on the matter of what happened at Capitol Hill, which was on the 6th of January, 7th of January, our time here in Sydney. Um, we woke up to quite a frightening situation. We were watching live feeds all day, all night, and we were watching former Vice President Mike Pence finally elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris as President and Vice President of the United States of America. And
Yeah.
what I feel is that coming, because I have friends and family in America, that it has caused me great distress to see someone who is completely unstable, unhinged, and should be removed either by the 25th Amendment or by what was that word? By impeachment. There we go. By impeachment. What are
Right.
your thoughts on that?
Well, let's take it one step at a time. What happened at on Capitol Hill was a disgrace. Nothing like this has ever happened since the British in the 1800s. This was whipped up. Let's call it for what it is. It was whipped up into a frenzy because of the commentary that both Donald Trump and also uh, Rudy Giuliani had said throughout their little press conferences today, and that whipped up their supporters into an absolute frenzy that they went to Capitol Hill and they broke in.
Hmm.
It was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. And even though Donald Trump, quote unquote, condemned it,
Hmm.
he was still crapping on and saying, the stop the steal, as he was calling it, stop the steal. So this is exactly what they did. They went to Capitol Hill to try and stop the steal. Obviously, it didn't work because it was certified in Capitol Hill in their Senate. So I'm glad that it's now over. It is done with. But I am there. What I found was extraordinary was the complete lack of security. The security there, they were not. I don't know how, but they weren't prepared for this. They should have been prepared for this. And as I understand that the person who is running the joint has actually fallen on his sword and resigned because of this catastrophic failure of securing Capitol Hill.
Yeah, it was absolutely crazy. I mean, there were bits in there where it was just like, hey, you've got these guys trying to break down the doors, and security's just letting them in, like opening the doors to them. Like, why? Why would you do this?
Well, first of all, the security was outnumbered 1,000 to 1. That's you can't just like defend it. You can't defend that. One security person to 1,000 other protesters. It just can't happen. You just aren't going to win that, even if you are security.
But from what we can see is there's a debate now going, or a situation argument happening, that police remove the barriers they let them in. And there was no, they broke the barriers and forced their way in. But as they were going up the stairs, you could see police standing in 2 rows opposite each other with masks on. And these people are just walking in, and they're standing there like statues, not doing a single thing, while the actual Capitol Police outside were trying to get these people to leave.
Yeah, there are even guards that were taking selfies with the people because it was like
Well,
the
monumental moment.
The moment, and it was just absolutely
Mayhem.
yeah. And
it was monumental, all right, but it was a monumental F up, if you know what I mean. That should have never taken place. That should have never happened.
I think the lack of security for something, so big, with everything was actually a number one fault. Why didn't they have more security? That's you're talking about like a major superpower, and they just didn't have enough security to guard Capitol Hill. I mean, this is crazy.
From what I've been reading myself and watching is that they have arrested one man from Arkansas who posed in Nancy Pelosi's office and took a piece of paper, her laptop and piece of paper. And he's now in prison awaiting federal charges. And they've now got pictures of the people who were there, the FBI looking for their arrest.
I've seen that picture. I've seen it. Well, it won't be hard to find one of them. One of them looked like a bloody Viking.
Yeah, I saw that. I mean, like that guy looked like he was.
You realize The Simpsons predicted that?
What?
The Simpsons predict everything.
The Simpsons predicted that. There was one guy that also just dressed up like a Viking. Now, there was an episode, I think it was an upcoming episode of The Simpsons, where they were storming Capitol Hill, and one of the guys was actually groundskeeper Willie, but he was dressed up like a Viking. See, The Simpsons had actually predicted that one too.
Wow.
So, and what else is that? They took a lot of things and they scared the congressmen and women who had to be, hide under their desks and be taken to a location where they can be kept safe. And the Senate and the Senate floor is actually quite a secure place. But apparently, from what I've read and heard, is that police or staffers on the inside leaked that information to the Trumpers and let them in. And they want to know why they were there when they were not on duty or not should not have been at work.
It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. It was bad. It really, the whole situation was just horrendous. Like, I never thought I would see. I only ever thought I'd see this in movies. All right, because I've only ever seen it in the movie. I think it was Triple X, the movie, the second one, I believe, where they had to fire a tank into they had to fire a rocket launcher from a tank into the Capitol Hill. But there's no real words that could you could say that. I don't know how, I don't know why. Well, I know, obviously we know why, but you would have never thought that this would ever happen.
No. And before the rioting began was Donald Trump, the soon to be ex-president of the United States of America, was caught on tape saying, I want you to find me 11,780 votes, one more than we already have. And
I heard that, and I heard that one.
And now they've got him on tape. But the thing is, he called every GOP Republican senator to try and overturn the election. And when he said, we will never give up, we will never concede, that does not happen, nor will it happen. Rudy Giuliani said trial by arms, and then it just went
trial by he went trial by combat. I heard that.
Yes, trial by combat.
As soon as he said that, I was like, oh, here we go. This is it. This is what'll happen.
It's actually quite sad when he did that, because the thing is, he's a respected
mayor. Was a respected mayor.
That's a good point. A respected.
He had a lot of respect for a long time. And he says this one thing, and all of his respect is gone. I mean, I was talking to Kat about this, and I was saying, if Donald Trump basically does anything, he's probably going to take the script of the Hoffa movie, buy it, and then make it his own and just change the names around, because this is exactly the same thing.
Now,
Basically.
while the rioting was happening, Donald Trump Jr., his eldest son, stupidly video live feeds on Facebook or Instagram or something of him, his Fox News anchor girlfriend, and his father, brother, and sister, and all their friends in a white tented quote control room with all the TV screens, all the cameras, with the song Gloria in the background. His girlfriend is seen dancing and saying, "Oh, stand up and fight." And his father and sister and Eric were all standing there watching the rioting happening while they're having a party,
Yeah,
literally
I
having a
haven't seen,
party.
I have not seen that footage, but I have a feeling that that footage would have been erased by now.
No, it's
You
not.
would think. It's
no,
not.
it
It's
was,
still around.
it was actually interesting how Donald Trump was actually standing and watching the screens, as opposed to all these other kids and all the other people there. So you had Donnie Trump,
Eric and Ivanka.
who was basically treating it like a party. This is fantastic. You had Eric, who was just like stooped over, like, this is how is this even happening? But then you had Donald Trump, who was just standing there silent,
Like a general.
In the most
Stern face.
protective mode that you can think of. It was interesting watching it.
But here's my theory. After that, a day after, he was seen doing a live or a recorded concession saying, "Oh, in America, we are one nation, we are a family, we are the United States of America. We need to have a peaceful transition of power. Serving you has been the greatest honor of my lifetime. Whoever was at the writing will pay the price. You're going to go to jail, blah blah." But in the moment that was sent, a day later, there's something worrying, because you see him calm,
Yeah.
peaceful, like the world isn't used to. He looked as if like someone had put something in his food or drink to sedate him, and to speak in such a calming manner, saying, um, go home in peace and love. It's time to have a peaceful transition of power.
Well, that was when he realized that it just wasn't going to happen. Now, I think that came in the next morning after Joe Biden and Kamala Harris was certified by Congress.
I actually one thing I actually have been seeing through the last stages of Donald Trump's downfall is been something psychologists and counselors refer to as the stages of loss. So you have things like
The 5 stages of grief, right?
yes, the 5 stages of grief. And first you've got denial, right? And Donald Trump had this major denial that he couldn't have lost. He was perfect. Everyone loved him, whatever. Then there was his anxiety. Then
anger came along.
Then there was the anger that came along. And this is like basically one of the last stages of his loss, which is acceptance. And that's why in my opinion, he's got that really calm thing.
Demeanor.
Demeanor. Even the way that he said, "I only just meant to make sure that the voting was done properly, or and it wasn't rigged properly, or whatever." Even the way that he said that sounded like, "I didn't mean to be this way." I think that's kind of his way of saying, "I didn't
But
mean
if you notice,
to do this way." But if I could finish, I think that's just his way of saying, "I'm sorry for what I've done. I've accepted that I've lost. I'm going to go now. End of story. I will pass the torch over to Biden." But it took a long time.
But he's technically not going to pass the torch over. He's not even going to go to the inauguration,
No,
which will
he's
be
not.
on the 20th of January, I believe.
Rumor has it, now this is a rumor. Rumor has it that he planned a private jet to Scotland to get away from the Biden inauguration. But the Scotland minister, she actually said he is not allowed to come to Scotland. One, we have COVID. Two, he's not welcome here. Nobody likes him. And, he can't just show up and play golf whenever he wants. He's not welcome in Scotland. Canada doesn't want him. Even people of Florida don't want him at Mar-a-Lago. They don't want him retiring there. But what I'm trying to say is that moment that he accepted his reality was when what worried me and sparked my interest was when he said, our journey is just beginning.
So that's almost a command.
It's almost like a threat or a command or a signal.
It's almost like another call to arms. Is that what you're thinking?
And then after he said that, I read one of the Trumpers writing, "We came in the millions, and we are coming back on the 19th of January, 2021, and we are coming armed."
Yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah. And it's well, they're quite stupid really, because they're telling the basically the police when they're going to be there and when they're going to cause trouble. That's like the dumbest military move ever.
Absolutely.
Now,
So
It shouldn't have said this is the beginning, this is the end. He really should have said this is the end. But instead he said this is the beginning. That's not good.
no.
now,
And what does it mean by journey? Whose journey? His journey, the people's journey,
the MAGA journey.
I think maybe the
journey?
Republican
what
journey.
journey are you talking about here, man? So
For me,
I think it's more like the Republican journey, I believe.
well, this is the other thing that we were discussing, is the fact that so if Donald Trump is stood down thanks to I think it's the
25th Amendment,
Pence will become the president of the United States
for
two
2 weeks.
But that means Pence will literally have the power to pardon Trump. So the question is, will he actually do it? Because this is what the Republican Party have to deal with right now. If they pardon Trump, right, they might be able to do some damage control for the whole party and go, well, they've pardoned him. He's legally no longer a criminal according to the law. So that's it, whatever. And whatever he does after politics, that's on him.
What I understand is Joe Biden is not going to let that 25th Amendment go through because there's only 12 days to go. It would seem rather pointless to do that whole cycle for 11 days.
But now they're looking at impeachment part 2.
Well, I have a feeling that might work because when he handled that riot on Capitol Hill, he lost a lot of Republican supporters, and that's the reason why a lot of those certified states that Joe Biden won, they weren't challenged. A lot of them were not challenged. He lost the support of the Republicans the way that he handled that.
Actually, that was another point, which is the fact that the basically the arguments that some of the Republicans had that were against the actual votes for, I think, what were the 2 states? There was
Pennsylvania and Arizona.
Yes, Pennsylvania that they were contesting. They actually
contested those 2.
They actually made some very good points. That's the thing. They made some strong arguments. And the Democrats' arguments, although they were morally correct, in my opinion, that the people basically, the whole basis of voting is to come and serve the people, and that's where the votes come from or whatever. That was morally correct, but the Republicans' argument was legally correct. So which basically one was the more accurate. I mean, you can say that, oh, we should do this because we morally should be doing this for the people, but rightly so. The mail-in voting that they got, that was really only reserved for military men and people who were disabled who actually couldn't actually go to the polls. And there was also another really strong argument, which was It's the legislators that actually have the power to do A, B, and C, not the Supreme Court. So the argument was that the Supreme Court went outside of its power to make it easier for Biden to win. And that was a really, really strong point that they had. So if that was properly contested and all the Republicans agreed, there was probably a really good chance that they'd have to do another recount or potentially have to re-vote again to get proper results.
But it ended up.
What I believe needs to happen in regarding those elections from here on in, they need to get rid of the electronic voting, because that's, quite frankly, that's probably the worst. I think there was like 107% of a certain state that actually voted. 107% out of 100. Those numbers aren't exactly. Those numbers aren't exactly spot on. They're over what they should be.
Well,
That's the problem I have with the election.
Also, one thing I actually noticed is another really important point that they brought up was how they said that the Democrats said that Russia rigged the election from when Trump got in by hacking the system, right? But here the Democrats saying there's no way that these systems can be hacked because none of the machines have modems, so there's nothing to talk to. Well, if it was possibly identified that the Russians hacked the voting polls with the actual machines, and they're claiming that there was a modem back then, how is it that there's no modem now? You can't have this double standards. Did they get removed this year, or what's going on? So that was one of the key points that I thought, hang on, the Republicans might be hated, but at least they've got some really, really strong points here that are very hard to deny. So that was the other things that was pointed. But I think a lot of Republicans got to the point where it's like, okay, we could contest this and win and then start a civil war because the American people have lost trust in the voting system. And I think that's what
definitely the American population definitely has lost faith in the electoral system. It needs to be completely overhauled, so nothing like that ever happens again.
Yeah, personally, I think that the whole America really needs to change its whole system altogether. I think the electoral system where like one state gets 2 votes or one state gets 6 votes, but another state gets 1 vote. It is kind of preposterous because people have changed. They live in different areas, etc. You know, I know why they did it.
An election could be called, and an election could literally be called if there's only 1 vote here and there's 6 votes there.
Yeah,
an election result could already happen before it gets down to their vote.
What I was watching was when they were on the Senate floor, and you had the Democrats on the left, and you had the Republicans on the right, and it was like a Western movie. It was like so intense and such a standoff that you had Nancy Pelosi asking the Republican GOPs to leave the floor because they were yelling and screaming and kicking, and it came down to a House vote.
Yeah, I heard that too. I think I saw something like that too, but that's just like chucking a dummy spit because you haven't got your way and you're chucking a dummy spit and that's it.
You know, I saw that and I just thought, hey, this is just Australian politics in Canberra, American style, because this kind of stuff happens in Australian politics every day.
But the stuff in America is 10 times worse. They'll literally have a punch up.
Yeah,
but what happens now is if they have an impeachment, they need to impeach him right now. And what's good is that they also discussed with Nancy Pelosi was that take the nuclear codes off of him. He's that unhinged and that unstable. He should not be having it in his hands anymore.
Yeah, well, he's not going to start a nuclear war when his presidency is going to come to an end in 11 days. So let's rule that out. He would not be that stupid. He has been unhinged. He's been unhinged, but He's not that stupid. He would not risk having the world turn on him.
I think this whole election that Donald Trump has been doing is basically everyone focuses on me, or everyone
Oh yeah.
focuses on Donald Trump. So Donald Trump didn't really give a damn what actually comes out of his mouth per se, because he just wants attention. And if anything, what this election has proven is that he's been getting nothing but attention, good, bad, whatever. But the world has been focusing on him. I think this is like
Yeah.
1 year where, because I'm a fan of Australian politics, but this is the one time in history where I cared more about American politics than I did about Australian politics.
I'm more of a American politics. Every 4 years I've sat down and I've watched the elections. Every 4 years I've watched and
too.
sat the debates. Every
Me
four
too. Me
years I've
too.
paid attention. Every day I pay attention. I prefer and I enjoy American politics more than I do my own country. And it's more sort of, I don't know, I feel like it's more intriguing for me, more interesting, more valuable, like I enjoy listening to what, one side saying to the other. And what worries me is come inauguration day, even though they will be sworn, Joe and Kamala will be sworn in, and they're going to do it safely, which is the virtual way. But what
I
worries me
reckon
is,
they will. I reckon they will seal off like the main part of America within a 10-mile radius,
but my
just
worry
so
is,
that inauguration can go through cleanly.
but my
Yeah,
yes, but
I
my
agree.
worry is that these Trumpers who are planning another what's it called? Another attack.
Protest, yeah.
I'm scared that they will try and hurt Joe Biden.
And that's
And
the other
that's
Be the-
worrying.
that's the
It
other
wouldn't be the
thing as well.
first time that it wouldn't be a first time an assassination that happened on an inauguration.
Well,
John Fitzgerald Kennedy, JFK.
Yeah.
well, also the other thing is like, are these people? I mean, are they protesters or are they homegrown terrorism? I mean, what differs them from,
I
say,
think
Al Qaeda or the Taliban?
I think these are the extreme right. I think this is what we're dealing with here, the extreme right.
Yeah. So,
Who will,
I
who
mean,
will go to the end of the earth for this guy Donald, for this guy Trump,
I think
and that's what they're going to do. They're going to go to the end of the earth for this guy.
I think Rudy Giuliani, Donald Trump, Donnie, Eric, and Ivanka should be tried and heading to prison. I'm sorry. Rudy Giuliani, Donald Trump Jr. stood up at his father's rally and said, this is not for the Republican Party. This is for Donald Trump's Republican Party. Or this is not their party anymore. It's Donald Trump's Republican Party. You need to stand up and you need to fight.
yeah, I mean,
It's a good thing that social media is now clamping down on this stuff.
well, that is true. I heard that what there was Parler that got shut down.
I'm looking. No, they've been given a notice. They've been given a 24-hour notice to give them just reason why it shouldn't be shut down.
Well, Google Play
But in
has
the meantime, I was
Google
going to
Play
say
has
exactly what you were going at. Yeah.
Google Play has actually removed Parler off its app store, and the only one
Yes.
still there is the Apple app store. And Apple has given them a 24-hour ultimatum as to why it should stay open.
Yeah. That's where I was going with that, and also, Twitter. They have suspended Donald Trump's account, so he's been banned off Twitter. I understand he's been banned off Facebook as well. I haven't checked that out myself, but
What a ban
I'd
him
imagine.
permanently.
Yeah, I think as I understand, he's been banned for until the inauguration, so that way he's no trouble up beforehand.
No, he's been banned permanently, from what I've read.
Off Facebook.
Twitter.
Oh, Twitter. Yeah, I knew about the Twitter one. I'm just talking about Facebook now.
Facebook, he's been banned until after the inauguration.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's actually interesting that they're doing all this banning, right? Because although they are afraid of Donald Trump eliciting violence, technically this is censorship. And according to America, you can't censor people by law. So they're actually breaking the law in order to stop more illicit violence and stuff like that.
I think
So
the reason why they're blocking him is to stop inciting violence, which is what happened what happened on the Capitol Hill the other day. He was inciting violence.
yeah, I get that he was inciting violence, but it's also censorship at the same time. It's censorship to protect the American people, but it's still censorship. So
Yeah, but the Twitter stepped up the censorship when he just started spilling just crap like we won the election, we had more votes, but it's clearly that didn't happen. But he still in his own mind believed it. So that's why that crap was getting censored because quite frankly, it was just bullshit. Pardon the language.
And before he was banned from Twitter permanently, he actually went on a tirade against his own vice president because
Yep,
his own vice
because he
president turned
certified
his
it.
back.
Well, he would have lost, like I said, he would have lost a lot of support. He would have lost a lot of Republican supporters the way he handled the riots on the Capitol. He
yeah,
should have come out and just, instead of trying to be smart, be too clever by name, he should have just come up and told them it's over, go home. But instead, he still decided to squeeze in that little we know this thing, we know you're upset, we know this thing was rigged. He went ahead and did that and then tried to calm people down. That was never going to work.
yeah. I got a friend of mine that literally said to me once in Gladesville, where we live, when I was at a cafe one day, and he said to me something very that I'll never forget, which is you can fail gracefully or you can fail in flames, but you've got to accept that one day you're going to fail at something. And
Yeah, and he's
I think
failing in flames.
he failed in flames.
And he's flaming everybody when he's doing it too. On the
Yeah,
way down.
that's right. He's flaming off everyone. Like, this is a bunch of flaming galahs right now.
And not just that, is that his, even in the White House, his own administration has resigned. So imagine how many people in his administration have resigned due to what happened at Capitol Hill. They are frightened for their lives because they don't know how to approach the president of the former president of the United States of America.
Yeah. I'm glad that everybody's resigning, right? Because they just can't stand the fact that he just doesn't get it. He does not realize that it's over. He's gonna fight until the last. Quite frankly, he's running out of troops. The only troops that he's got now are these extreme right.
Well, that and his religion that he's or cult, I should say, that he's effectively created. I mean, the ones that think that he's the Messiah.
Cult. That's a good way of putting it. I didn't think of putting it as a cult, but the way people are acting, you're spot on.
Well, apparently there is a cult people, like they're apparently like sort of right-wing Christians that.
It's called the MAGA church.
Yeah, it's called a MAGA church, and apparently they believe that.
They call the MAGA church, Make America Church Again.
Yes, Make America Church Again. I don't know. I thought it was a macaroni and cheese church, but I mean, whatever.
Hey, there ain't nothing wrong with macaroni and cheese.
No, there's nothing wrong with macaroni and cheese.
What I'm trying to say, with all seriousness, is that there is an actual thing called MAGA church, and a lot of his cult followers go there to pray for him and go there and do whatever, fellowship, worship, whatever. But the thing is, he's so far gone. Like, I'm surprised Mike Pence didn't say to him, look, Mr. President, if you don't give up now, something has to be done, and that's a 5150 psych hold. You need to be evaluated. You're not strong anymore. You're weak, and you're not all there anymore, sir. And you can be angry. And I guess looking at Donald Trump, his life, he's never heard no, or he's always gotten what he's wanted. He's always done what he's done. And he's always been able to manipulate, control, and be vindictive. And for someone to say, oh, I could go I could stand in the middle of New York, shoot somebody and not lose a single vote. I'm still going to win. That should have been a matter of urgency, because then he was unhinged then, and he's even more far unhinged now at his age. And he's what, he's 75 this year, and he should be at home in retirement. But if he gets impeached, he will lose everything. He will lose the lot.
I agree. It's just I think there was rumors going around. Obviously, he's been kicked off Facebook, Twitter. There's a rumor going around at the moment that he might actually pop up on MySpace. I'd feel sorry for poor Tom, because that's how I got into social media. Was first of all was through
Yeah, I
MySpace.
got into
That was back
MySpace
in
as well.
2007, though. That was at least
Who
2002.
uses MySpace anymore? I mean, no one does.
I used to use that back in around 2003, I think. That was when I first used it. I've lost my account since then. I don't know. I can never remember my password, so that's
If
why I can never
he
remember it.
if he joins MySpace, then Tom will make a major comeback and announce MySpace 2.0 or 3.0 or something. It'll explode again.
Donald Trump is so unlikable that Tom won't be his friend.
And apparently there's a leaked tape phone call. Rudy Giuliani sent a voicemail to the wrong GOP senator, and now he's
Oops.
breaking out, and it's been leaked. He sent a voicemail to the wrong GOP, to the wrong senator.
Oh, jeez.
If you read up
Oh,
on it,
God.
he's actually losing his mind.
Is this Donald Trump on MySpace? I'm just having a look to see if there is. It would appear to be there is. I think. I can't confirm that it is official, but there is a Donald Trump MySpace account. Like I said, I can't confirm this is a legit website.
Look, his cult followers will join MySpace and they can all convene there and leave us all alone to deal with our lives. But the thing is, rumor has it that he's joined Parler, that he's on Parler as well.
If they want their own
And
private space, they can go
Parler
to-
is 24 hours away.
Hey,
And Parler is 24 hours away from getting probably canned altogether. But I've just sent you a link on Donald Trump, by the way. Potentially on MySpace.
Oh, it's come through already.
I'll deal with it later. Okay. But
I don't know. I can't, like I said, I can't
if they cancel
confirm that this
Parler,
is legit.
if they cancel Parler, the only place they probably have is a WhatsApp. He probably already has a WhatsApp, and all his followers will have WhatsApp, and they can talk to him there, I guess.
I believe, what do you call it? Australian politicians were at one stage using WhatsApp.
I think they
I
all
remember
do.
seeing something. I think I remember seeing something about that. Like I said, I can't vouch for this MySpace page, so best not to go to it.
So what's next? When he said our journey is only beginning.
Well, we'll know on the 19th.
Will they? My question is, will they beef up security for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to make sure they're kept safe and the Capitol is safe, inauguration is safe, and how they're going to protect the president and vice president of the United States of America? And what about these cult followers, these MAGA cult followers? They're going to cause mayhem.
Well, there's no way in the world the security would be that lax for this inauguration. There's no way. Now, I did mention this earlier on. I will not be surprised if there's like a 5 or 10 mile radius full of police officers, so nothing can happen except for Joe Biden's inauguration.
You saw what happened on Capitol. They hung what do you call it, with the noose?
Oh yeah, so they had a noose like in a frame.
Right.
And they aligned it so that Capitol Hill rooftop looked like it was being hung.
Or they were gonna,
as if they were
lynching.
if they were going to lynch anyone that opposed Donald
And
Trump.
apparently now it's confirmed that they found in a man's truck like pipe bombs all around the Capitol and in his truck, and all this dangerous chemical liquid and
I heard that.
guns.
I
And
heard about that.
what do you make of that?
Ah, this is, like I said, this is the extreme right. Will go to any lengths. That's what I meant. That's what I meant earlier on about the extreme right. This, I don't know what's going on in these guys' heads. I don't know whether or not these people have been brainwashed and not even realize that they're being brainwashed. But they've got to accept the fact that it's over. The guy that they voted for is not going to be the president of the United States come the 20th of January, and live with it. Because you can't just go run it, because this is going to be a straight away from day one. This is going to be a test of Joe Biden's leadership. How is he going to bring the left and right together? Because that's going to be really tough.
In fact, I think the entire presidency of the United States will change after this thing. It'll literally decide how much veto power a president actually does have. And if they're allowed to use such power, if they're unstable or they're basically not fit to lead.
For the next 4 years, that's going to be out of
the
the question. Oh, for the next 4 years, that's going to be out of the question because the Democrats have control of the upper house and lower house. They got the 2 votes they needed in the Senate, so
Now,
a veto will more than likely not happen in the next 4 years because they've lost control of both.
now we all know Joe Biden, as much as I love him and I support him, he's 77. By the time he does his third term, pardon me, he'll probably be about
do 2
81,
terms in
82.
America.
No, he doesn't have a third term. He can only have 2.
No, because
Yeah, you can only do any president can any U.S.
no,
president
but
can
what
have
I
2
mean is
terms,
by his
not
30, not third
3.
term, not third term, sorry, by his third year, he'll be 81, 82.
Yeah.
So now
Yep.
Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris will be the president by then.
Yes. Now,
I
but the thing
don't
is,
think he will last his time. I mean,
now,
I want him to, but I think he's going to be too old.
my thing is, when she becomes president, it'll be celebratory for all girls and women around the world. But at the same
No doubt,
time,
no doubt.
after her, I think what they should implement in the States is a psychological test and fitness to see if the next person who's running for the presidency of the United States of America, one, is fit in sound mind and body, is physically fit, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually fit, and does a psychological test to prove that they are worthy of the candidacy of the president of the United States of America. If they don't, then they can't.
I agree.
They can't do it.
I reckon
They
that's
shouldn't do
what
it.
should happen. Whether it actually will, that's a different story. But it is clear that Donald Trump is not mentally fit to run at all for anything, let alone his own company or the presidency of the United States. He is quite simply not fit to be any president of anything.
Absolutely.
It would be a mistake to put him in charge of anything, to be perfectly honest.
That's why I'm saying after Kamala Harris, there should be in the Senate something that says you cannot become, whether you're Madam President or you're actually President of the United States of America, whoever you are, you have to be mentally stable, emotionally, physically, and spiritually stable. And you have to do a psychological test to see if you're fit enough.
Yeah.
Then we'll actually consider you as a proper candidate for the presidency of the United States.
That would make things very cool. It would make things very tough for them to actually pick a president for the United States if the level's going to be that high. It's going to be very hard to actually pick someone who can actually lead it and actually do a job and be sound of mind.
Well, the thing is, if you implement, just say if you were to implement something like that, it'd be also very easy to get rid of any president that way, because all you have to do is say, dude, you're not of sound mind to lead. You need to step down. And they're out. How many Democrats or Republicans would get rid of their opposition if all they had to say was, you're not of sound mind, you can't lead these people? So this is why I think as you said, Biden has a really, really, really tough job of his
ahead of him.
ahead of him to basically unite America again, especially when everyone is so divided. So really, really tough job.
But the thing is, the extremists, the Trumpers were going, oh, this was all Antifa, Black Lives Matter, posing as Trumpers. And then they actually confirmed that no, there was no Antifa, there was no Black Lives Matter member. It was all actually Trumpers.
The thing is, but the thing is, the Black Lives Matter people didn't really need to be there because they'd effectively already won, kind of thing. And there was also the side of if you all these black people show up and protest, they would most likely be killed. And White Lives Matter or any KKK group or Proud Boys or whatever would literally have a reason and yet another reason to basically blame black people for basically standing up for their rights in America. It would be against it. You know, it would be total and utter chaos. I mean, it's been absolute chaos already throughout his presidency, but that would be Armageddon. It would be absolutely Armageddon if that were to happen.
And I think it will become January the 20th, 2021. I'm scared for them. I'm scared for the people. I'm scared for the country. We don't know what's ahead. Even, you know, in Australia, we're so worried about our numbers in coronavirus and mask wearing this and this. We're actually not caring enough about that, but we are definitely sitting back and going, let's focus on Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. Let's focus on what's happening there to take our minds off what's happening here, because here is not as important as there. This is our focus, you know.
You know, so yeah, it is a whirlwind, you have to admit, a big whirlwind. And I honestly didn't think that I would see anything like this in my
lifetime. Yeah.
I mean, you read about it in history books all the time, and you think to yourself, oh, well, they had muskets back then, and it was colonial times or whatever. You kind of got to expect that. It's not like that anymore. But yet that happened. It was crazy. You know, absolutely crazy. You know?
I agree with you. I never thought in my lifetime that I would see anything this crazy.
You know, I mean, there's been a lot of, America's had a lot of really, really, really violent times, but this one's got to take the cake.
No, it'll be Inauguration Day, January 20th, 2021 is when it's going to take the cake, because we don't know how dangerous or how calm it's going to be. There's an element of fear in the air. The world is watching. The world is watching minute by minute.
And as you say that the world is watching, for that reason, America will make sure that its troops are on the ground to ensure that if there's any funny business, then some shit's going to go down. Excuse my language, that some stuff is going to go down. So they will make sure that the world sees their military might in saying that if anything bad happens, you know what's going to happen.
What they need is not just the police from Capitol Hill, they need the SWAT team. All SWAT teams from all across America, just to bring them all in and wait for the day.
Yeah,
because
there is no doubt in my mind that they will have maximum security on Inauguration Day, because they simply can't risk they simply just cannot risk they can't risk Joe Biden being at risk. He's the president of the United States. We wouldn't want him assassinated.
Now,
I would like this point here at on the 20th would be the moment where the far right accepts it, so that way people can get on with their lives.
Well, see,
I don't see it accepting. They've threatened to come back. They've threatened to come back and do more harm.
Well, there's already a lot of Republicans already that have accepted that they've lost.
Yes, but the Trumpers have not and will not bow out. They will not give up, and they're planning hell on earth. It is going to be chaotic and mayhem. It will be bloodshed to the bitter end.
But I mean, hopefully it won't be that. But
And
I
that's
mean,
what's worrying right now. It'll be bloodshed in the name of Donald Trump till the bitter end.
I wonder. See, this is what the thing. I wonder if they'll actually have to cuff Donald Trump out of the White House, or whether he'll just
He
leave.
won't be there. He will not be there because he is not going to the inauguration. As selfish as he is, he should, if he was going to stay in the White House, he needs to come out of the White House and as Clinton did with Bush, as Bush did with Obama, and Obama to Trump and previous predecessors. They all came out of the White House and went to the inauguration. They walked out of the White House into Capitol Hill, and he needs to do the same. And unfortunately for him, he's not going to be there, and it's better that he's not there.
Well, the thing is, health-wise, it's better that he's not there because he's got COVID. So he can't be anywhere near the president anyway. Even if basically he was to leave peacefully, and even if he was to have a peaceful transition of power and say, hey, I'm here, it would be a really, really, really bad for President Trump to be anywhere near President Biden.
But the thing is, Biden has also said it is better that he doesn't show up for the greater good.
Yeah.
And also, Biden said that he does not want to walk into the White House with his wife and Kamala until the whole house is clear of COVID. Every room, everything that's been ever touched has to be sterilized and sanitized and washed down and vacuumed and mopped and sprayed.
That won't be a problem. I would just like to see that. What I would like to see, and I'm sure everyone would like to see, is Donald Trump leave the White House gracefully. All right, he's obviously not doing that. He's not going to stick around for the inauguration, but I would like to see him. This will give him some sort of credibility back right there at the end if he just leaves the White House gracefully.
I think
no bullshit, just leave.
I don't think he will.
Well, honestly, if he leaves gracefully, I think he'll save himself.
I don't think he will.
If he yells and screams like a little child,
then he would have done his next chances.
All of his respect is gone.
Look,
absolutely.
Donald Trump, this man has never, ever since his childhood, has never heard the word no. He's never been punished. He's never been disciplined.
Oh, he has.
He hasn't. And he's always gotten away with being vindictive, manipulative, controlling, kicking and screaming. He's never paid anyone at the Trump Taj Mahal, the workers there. He's never paid his taxes. And
let's not go past there, because it's just gonna it's just gonna go around in circles again. That's the thing. Okay. Because we know where everyone stands on that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, as he said, he needs to bow out or walk out the White House gracefully, or he walks out with handcuffs on him.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm pretty sure that he doesn't want to be removed or remembered in handcuffs.
In handcuffs, yeah. The easy way, he walks out gracefully. The hard way, he walks out with handcuffs around him.
Yeah.
Easy way or hard way. There's not much of a choice.
I tell you right now, I wouldn't want to be the psychologist that basically has to, be with Donald Trump right now, because not only does he have to realize that the vast majority of Americans don't actually like him, but he has to make the move to go, okay, what's the least shameful move that I can do that's not just going to discredit the Trump name?
The least shameful move is he leaves the White House on his own, not being dragged. If he gets seen dragged, kicking and screaming, he and the Republicans will have no chance next election.
Actually, Kat and I were discussing if he does that. What are the options for the Republican Party? Do they have to change their name to the Republican Party to something else? No. They
have to stay. They have to stay with the Republican Party. They just need to go with somebody who can restore some credibility into the Republican Party. Obviously, that's not Donald Trump.
From what I've heard, is that they're going to be split in two.
Yeah,
Oh, they can't be split in two. They get split in two. The only party it benefits is the Democrats
that's right. So if they get split
because you're going to
into,
have two fractured sides.
yeah, it's if you do that, you will the Republicans will not get in power for a very, 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 very long time. They may as well give up politics if they're going to do that. I
That's
mean,
right.
that's like supporting One Nation and the Greens.
All I will
Basically.
say is January 20th, 2021 is the date and the month of, and 2021 is the year to watch the inauguration and pray heavily that nothing goes wrong. But I have a feeling they will need to step up the Secret Service and make sure they're ready, because they need to protect the
Oh, yeah.
newly minted president and vice president of the United States of America. I don't care if they have to put barriers
Absolutely.
so
I've
that
no
these
doubt about
people
that.
don't break in.
But it's also interesting that they talked about how democracy is very fragile, and that was a really, really good point to say that, hey guys, we live in a democracy, and 2 days ago it could have actually been taken away from us if we weren't careful. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people, they take a democracy for granted, but when it's tested, when there's a chance of a coup, it really does begin to make people afraid and be thankful for what people actually have. And what I was actually saying to a neighbor of mine was, well, if you don't like a country that has a democracy, go live in China where they don't have a democracy and see how awesome it is to live there.
Yeah.
So
January 20th, 2021. I am waiting.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I won't be able to watch it because I'll probably be on my way to the studio that day. But I'll probably put it on TV so I can at least watch it partially, so I can lean through the window and look at it.
I'm sure it'll be on a repeat somewhere.
But that
Oh
is
yeah, no doubt, no
that's
doubt about that.
that is the date, the month, and the year in history to look out for. This will be the big one. Well, the question
Absolutely.
hanging will be two questions actually. Will it
Abs-
be safe or will it be
absolutely.
mayhem? That's all I have to say about this podcast is we are in the most frightening time
Yeah.
of our life.
Yep.
It's as simple as that.
Oh, we'll try to make the best of it. Try to make the most positive time of it, not just the negative time.
Absolutely. Well, this has been quite the amazing.
So
intriguing.
So, yeah.
All right, guys, I'm gonna have to wrap it up here because I've got to cook dinner tonight. We're having tacos.
Yum.
Oh, I love tacos.
Well, I want to say thank you so much for joining me on Cat Space. I really hope I get the honor and pleasure of doing another podcast with you really soon. Hope you enjoyed your time with myself.
No problem, man. I only got home like half an hour before I was actually on air. It's literally spent an hour traveling home from radio just to come back on and do another podcast straight away. So there we go.
Well, let's
Dedicated.
let's talk about another podcast time together. Thank you so much for joining us and joining me.
All right. Peace.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Stop
Awesome.
recording.